we really appreciate everybody coming out to celebrate my dad's life. Absolutely long overdue, but it's great to see everybody, all of these friends and family, truly touched to get to see everybody a year and a half later and come out and let us know how much my dad touched maybe your life or somebody in your family, but it means a lot to us. Anybody, real quick, if anybody has any stories that they'd like to share on my dad from back in the day, or just a memory that they may have, Tori's going to be going around this afternoon, and she would like to get some, maybe some good stories or some dirt on my dad on video. So please visit her sometime this afternoon. My dad always asked if something ever happened to him. He was like his good friend and the first person that ever gave him an opportunity to coach, Coach Jim Lawhead, his opportunity to come in and tell a little bit about my dad. So today, Mr. Lawhead is going to come up and share a few stories about my dad, and then the Reign Sports Hall of Fame committee has been so kind that they came out and they're going to have a little little story to tell about Dave Thomas. So, no further ado, Coach Jim Lawhead.
Thank you, Derek. I'm very blessed and so honored to speak to you today and to be here. It's a joy. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming today as we honor the life and legacy of Coach Dave Thomas. Karen called recently, as Derek pointed out, and said David wanted me to speak because I had given him a chance. That chance came way back in 1966, 35 years ago, when David was a young 19-year-old graduate in that summer of '66. But he was a football player and all-conference receiver at old Lorraine High School. And I was looking as AD at St. Mary's for a CYO football coach. And the 17-year-old comes calling. And I was really kind of taken aback, quite surprised, and but quite impressed. But he knew football for being an athlete at Lorraine High School, all-star, steel and back. So I took a chance, the chance he spoke of. I hired him at 17 to be the CYO football coach. He won 2 championships back-to-back in his first 2 years, at 17, about maybe 18 and 19. Pretty impressive. So now he was, to everyone, Coach Dave Thomas. He would go on to coach basketball at his home parish at St. Nicholas. He would coach and play City League touch football. And then he discovered, he discovered the sport that he would embrace and eventually come to love. And you know that is soccer. In 1981, he, in concert with Lorraine City, organized Lorraine Soccer Association. And Dave began coaching youth soccer, the inspiration being his son Derek, who was just a youngster at the time. The coach displayed that fiery dedication and passion that was his hallmark. And then a couple years later, he came calling again. As time passed on, nearly 20 years. Now, I'm the athletic director of Wright County High School. And Dave came with the idea of starting a soccer program at Wright County High School, and not have soccer. I knew that he was a passionate young man. He was successful the first time. So I supported that. We went to the administration and they gave their blessing. started with soccer. However, as busy as I was, I told him, you're going to do the schedule, you're going to hire the refs, you're going to really take control of it. And he ran it. He also joined our basketball staff a little later. But in soccer, he developed within a year or 2 or 3, one of the most respected soccer programs in Northeastern Ohio. He won titles, his players at Ray Catholic were outstanding, and it was nothing but impressive. And he coached at Ray Catholic the entire time until we unfortunately closed in 2004. One of my favorite stories about Dave was not about soccer. It was about basketball. He was a freshman basketball coach for many years. And he sat on the bench with me. And at a particular time at Leary West, and Derek reminded me of this in our conversations leading up to the day, he reminded me that his dad set a Lorraine Catholic basketball record. And I don't know if you can imagine right now as you sit there what record set while sitting on a bench in basketball. But we were sitting there, and all of a sudden he was barking at the officials. And I looked at him, and I was kind of like, and my mind's going to settle down. And all of a sudden, the trail official came sneaking up. Blew his whistle. He got a technical foul. Sitting on the bench next to me, he got a technical foul. What I whispered in his ear at that moment will be left unsaid. However, to be truthful about it, I love that guy. I loved his passion and I loved his dedication. And we had a good time with it, but we never spoke of it again. How does one describe Coach Dave Thomas? As a young man, you might say he was brash, he was cocky, and he was a tough guy. He may well have been all of those things. How else would he get the nickname Nutsy? Well, I suppose he might get that by jumping off the Henderson Bridge and surviving. Maybe he got it because he's well known for shooting out some straight lights 3 blocks from the police department downtown just to see if there were any bullets in his gun. But I saw a different side of Dave Thomas. Beneath that bravado, there was an intelligent individual, a competitor, and a caring individual. He was a coach and had a burning desire to excel and to win. Billy Waters, one of his star soccer players, in my opinion, said it the best. He posted a tribute to his coach at the time of his passing. And I quote, "Coach Thomas was special to me. Other than my parents, Coach Thomas had the greatest impact in shaping me into the person I am today. When I finished high school, I thought I would encounter many more like him. But it isn't like that. Special people are rare. You only have them for a short time." He was the epitome of what a leader of young men should be. Tough, encouraging, patient, and loving. Unquote. Dave was a unique and special kind of guy. Despite the tough guy persona, he loved his players and they loved him. He loved his family and they loved him. He was a colleague, an associate, a Hall of Famer, and a fellow cancer victim and survivor until he passed. Most of all, who's my friend? David, we honor you, we love you, we miss you. We will meet again, my friend, but not yet. Not yet. God bless Karen, Derek, Jen, their children, the grandchildren that they loved so dearly. Thank you, and God bless America.
My name is Keith Waters, and I really believe Jim Watt saw my speech before we were his. I'm going to say something to Jim Watt. On behalf of the Lorraine Hall Sports Hall of Fame, I want to thank Karen, Derek, Melissa, Jen, and Brian for the opportunity to be here today. Dave was inducted into the Lorraine Sports Hall of Fame in 1994. He began his coaching career after high school, coaching basketball and football in the CYO program. From 1968 to 1981, Dave was league director of the Ohio Touch and Flag Football League. He was a player coach for Adams Cafe. Adams won 65 consecutive games and 11 championships, both state records. It's my understanding a record amount of alcohol was consumed during that run. From there, Dave got involved with developing youth soccer in Lorraine. This led to leagues and an annual international soccer tournament. Dave was the father of youth soccer in Lorraine. Because of his involvement, he was presented with the Presidential Sports Award from Jimmy Carter. In the early 80s, Dave was an advisor to the state of Ohio for the Olympic Development Program and chairman of the state soccer team committee for Junior Olympics. Dave coached a team that played in 9 countries in Europe. They played 25 games with one match in front of 16,000 fans. Dave moved on to coach soccer and basketball at Lorraine Catholic. It was soccer that Lorraine Catholic excelled at under Dave's leadership. His teams won 4 sectional titles and had a regional final appearance. Dave retired as LC's coach when the school closed. He retired with 208 wins during his career at LC. Dave received numerous Coach of the Year awards in the county and greater Cleveland area while coaching at Lorraine Catholic. I first became aware of Dave Thomas in the early 70s. I was at a bar called Bean and Grill with some friends. I noticed a guy who looked just like Burt Reynolds. I pointed him out to my buddies and one says, "Don't make eye contact with him. That's Nutsy Thomas." Turns out Nutsy had a reputation of being a real bad dude. Needless to say, I never looked in Nutsy's direction. Fast forward 25 years. My son Bill is starting his freshman year at Lorraine Catholic, and he's playing on the soccer team. His coach is going to be Dave Thomas, the guy who looked like Burt Reynolds. What I found out very early on was Nutsy was a myth, a persona that was made up. Nutsy Thomas wasn't real. What was real was Dave Thomas, the husband, the father, the grandfather, and coach to hundreds who loved his family fiercely, was compassionate and loyal to his players, and was a good friend. Now Dave still had some people believing that tough guy still existed. If you were lucky enough to be in Dave's inner circle, you knew that was just a character Dave used to play. The highlight of every year was the family vacation to Hilton Head. Dave loved to golf, but golf always didn't love Dave. I got to see him play against some of our golf. Everyone in this room knows Dave had a mustache most of his life. About 10 years ago. Dave shaved his mustache, and when I saw him, I told him he looked 10 years younger without it. You never grow better. Karen, if you weren't a fan of I'll take the credit. In closing, I want to again thank Dave's family for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, and go Browns.
We just want to let you know that Dave meant a great deal to us because we loved him very much. He was our buddy, our pal, and he was definitely something else, no doubt about it. So, best of everything and all that, thank you. This was a wonderful, wonderful thing. We know he's looking down, I'll tell you right now, and he's even smiling, okay? We love you. Thank you.
We'd love to thank everybody for coming out on a Sunday, celebrating my dad's life. It is unbelievable seeing all the friends and family and the people that he's touched over the years. Tons of stories that we'd love to hear. Anybody else want to?
Thank you. I just feel there's love in this room, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, we know he's smiling down watching this today, and very appreciative. Thank you so much.